See, Shaw was in a curious position because he was the sort of person who wanted a religion but couldn't believe in the religions around him. He did not believe in what you would call a familiar Christianity or any other organized religion. He thought all of that was a bunch of superstitious nonsense. If that alienates you, I'm sorry, but that is who this guy was, and you have to understand his play on his own terms. Um, However, while he didn't believe himself in something beyond the human species, beyond life on Earth, he did. He liked what religion did for people. He liked the way it got people to live for something larger than themselves, something beyond their own happiness. He admired that. He wanted to live that way. And he knew that people who were living for their religion, had a tendency to live that way. So he liked that a lot. One of his favorite books was called Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. And it's about every man traveling through the world and basically trying to get saved. He liked that kind of arc in a human life, but he didn't believe in conventional religion. So what he ends up doing is sort of trying to come up with his own religion, and he took some of it from here and some from there. He gave credit, but the philosophy presented in this play really is kind of like Shaw's attempt to bootstrap his own religion. And the key phrase in that is called the life force. You'll see that one come up, especially in the second half, but that's a significant thing. And partly this was borrowed from Nietzsche, and partly this was borrowed from Darwin. Nietzsche was a German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, who one of his mottos was, man is something that must be overcome. He thought the human species was not good enough as it was, and that we had to evolve into something higher and better. And Shaw bought into that idea as well. And both of them were sort of drawing on Darwin in the sense that species evolve. According to the Darwinian system, species evolve. And so just had chimpanzees turned into us, that we could turn into something as much smarter than we are, as we are smarter than the chimpanzees, right? Okay, so man is something that must be overcome, trying to become a higher species than we currently are, okay? And Shaw's idea, and some of this also echoed off of Nietzsche, was that the life force is trying to bring this about. Life plunges on blindly. The urge to survive, the urge to reproduce, the urge to live happens in every species, every organic species, and including human beings. And that forward push of life. Sometimes I think of herrings swimming upstream, that the odds against them are so enormous and they just keep pushing forward. He calls it the life force. And Shaw took it as his idea that the role of human beings was to help the life force understand itself. And so to move forward more intelligently than it otherwise would. That was what man's mind was for, was to help the life force move forward and create this higher, better species, and therefore a higher, better world. Okay, those are the ideas rolling around. Jack Tanner believes some of that stuff, and when you get to the second half of the play, you'll see it really talked about by the character known as Don Juan. Which brings us to the dream scene in the second half of the play. When your week one stuff will be the stuff just up to the dream scene, and the rest of it, the second half of the play where I divided it will be from the dream scene on. So maybe I'm gonna stop this one and get into this whole thing with the dream scene because it tends to blow people's minds.